The Williamson County Sheriff's Office is asking the public for assistance. In 1988, S.E. Ritchey was attacked and murdered outside of his home. Today, the case remains open as family and investigators continue to ask who did it.
You know, they grew up in a world and a time when they may not have even had screens on their windows at one point. You know, they never thought about locking doors. It was a country innocence.
On March 5th, 1988, 77-year-old S.E. Ritchey and his wife Ethel returned home after their weekly grocery trip. The couple owned and operated a laundromat in Taylor where they would collect their earnings and then run to the H-E-B every Saturday.
I saw them leaving the grocery store, which, you know, they did every Saturday night. It was very predictable, their schedule. And, you know, they walked out to their car and they loaded the groceries and then left. And about 30 minutes later, an ambulance came by, lights and sirens. And I saw it head out that direction. And I just knew.
When they arrived at their home, which was located in rural Shiloh, Texas, they were brutally attacked in their driveway.
This was about 10 p.m. when they arrived home that day. They had established a pattern of closing the laundromat down, go into H-E-B to buy the groceries, and then go into their house. I think it's likely someone knew that they, you know, closed the laundromat down and had the money from that, and more or less targeted them to go and take the money from them.
During the attack, S.E. Ritchey was struck in the head with a blunt object, and Ethel was knocked unconscious. Police determined the couple were targets of a robbery.
An unknown suspect or suspects robbed Mr. Ritchey. It was roughly $300.
S.E. Ritchey died just 17 days later from his injuries.
And I think your grandma Ethel kind of changed.
She was never right after that either, of course. She could never really remember. The first probably 6 weeks after this happened, I stayed over there with her every night. She had bars put on her windows and the door secured, but she could never really remember what happened.
Carla says the family dynamic has never been the same since the attack.
Like a piece of glass that a rock hits, and it just runs. The cracks and the breakage just runs, and it hasn't stopped to this day.
Ethel passed away years later due to natural causes and is buried next to her husband. Even though 35 years have passed, Carla still wants justice for her grandfather.
He'd fight for me, and that's why I fight for him. He'd do anything in the world for me. And we're gonna figure this out.
We will figure it out.
I'm not gonna stop.
Investigators are in the process of having evidence retested and hope more information will help them close this case. And if you have any information regarding the murder of S.E. Ritchey, call the Williamson County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen. You can also contact Williamson County Crime Stoppers, which has a cash reward for information that leads to an arrest.